Hello everyone, welcome back to We Flip Cars. I hope you're well. Thanks for tuning in. Now, you might have watched our last video. If you didn't, check it out just here. We might have bought a couple of auction buys. Now, I'm not going to let you know what one, but we did buy one of those vehicles. Today, we're off to collect it in Bristol. So we've got to jump on a train. But whilst we're doing that, my best friend Will reached out to me and said, Liam, if you're off to Bristol, there's a Mercedes that I'm looking for that you know about, because I've been hunting for one for about 6 months. It's a Mercedes C180 Auto Petrol AMG Sportline Plus with the panoramic roof, top spec, red seat belts, red stitching. It is top spec and I can't find one. I've been looking for over 6 months. Now he's found one in Newport, which is about a 45-minute drive away from Bristol. So he's going to jump on the train with me today. We're going to go and collect the auction buy first and then drive over the bridge into Wales to go and have a look at this Mercedes for Will. Then he's got the option, if he does like it, if we have a look round it, he's got my opinion as well, make sure it's a good car, then he can drive it back, follow me, or I can follow him. He's probably going to have to follow me because I would have thought that the auction buy might be a bit iffy. I'm nervous, but if not, then he can jump in with me. He hasn't got to worry about that car if it's no good, and then we both got a risk driving back in the auction buy. Hopefully we don't break down, touch wood. It's a nice, simple, easy day. Will it be? I doubt it. Let's find out.
Yeah.
Started it up.
So the fan's on. We've only just started it up, which is another not a good sign. The four-wheel drive is flashing. So here it is. It's a 2017 Mitsubishi L200. It's a Barbarian, so it's top spec, but we've just had a look round it and it's a little bit more tatty than we first thought from the images that we see on dealer auction. It looks like it's had a whack on this front end, causing that front bumper to crack, and just underneath all the clips are missing. Got a dent just there. It was a builder's truck, so obviously it's going to have a few battle scars, but it's probably a bit further gone than we first thought when we was bidding on this one. So we just plugged in the diagnostics tool and we're going to run through the diagnostics just now to make sure that there's no engine codes. Let's have a quick look. So we're using the snap-on Solus Edge. Select Mitsubishi. Automatic ID. Just collecting the data. 2.4. Brings up the VIN number. And then if we click OK, do a code scan, ignition's on, pre-scan, see if it detects any codes. No engine codes. %. Anti-lock brakes, reverse switch, four-wheel drive, CAN timeout, SAS CAN timeout. So it looks like it's got a couple of fault codes coming up on the ABS. We'll wait for it to go through to see if there's any others. It's at 68% at the minute. It will run through the whole system of the car, so it's really handy when buying a car. You need to make sure that you're plugging in a diagnostics tool, really, just to make sure there's no hidden faults with the car. Like we can see on this truck, it looks like there's definitely a few codes here. And we did notice a little oil leak which wasn't described, so we'll show you that in just a second as well. And it's slightly concerning. So we've got passenger airbag off, light circuit open, Reverse switch stored, 4-wheel drive can timeout not equipped, SAS can timeout not equipped. A few others there. Mode switch failure for the super select 4-wheel drive, so it might have a 4-wheel drive fault on this because it's coming up with a few 4-wheel drive fault codes, and that is definitely something to be concerned about. So I might have to do a little bit of a Google search to see exactly what them codes do mean. Now I'll show you the oil leak that I was concerned about. So I'm just looking down the back of the engine and I noticed that there's a bit of oil leaking right from around the back. I don't know if that's a turbo or... And then I looked underneath. Let me just grab something to lean on. And looking underneath, now that looks saturated with oil. I stuck my hand up there and there seems to be a lot of oil leaking from underneath the bottom of this truck. Whether it's coming from the head gasket, I'm not sure, because there's a slight oil stain there coming out from the head gasket as well. So very concerned, very concerned. We're going to do a bit of Google research, go and have a chat with the salesman inside, because like I say, it is a bit tatty than what we first thought. It's high on the miles, although it's one owner from new with full service history. It's going to need a bit of a mop and a lot of pulling together, and I thought that it would be in a lot better condition because there's also a massive scrape there as well, which I weren't aware of. Big dent on the back. Dents on both sides. Gonna need to get them stickers taken off, give it a real good valet, and not too sure on this one. But let's get inside. Will's been helping me out. We might have to get on the train, back on the train to...
Walking back to Kent now.
Yeah, might have to walk back.
We'll start it and see how it goes, eh? Have a good check around it again once we start it out and see what happens.
Let's have a look. So unfortunately, after having a real good look around this, starting the engine, plugging in a diagnostics tool, just playing around with it and making sure that it's a decent truck. Now, this doesn't seem to shut properly. It's in real bad condition. It is not as described. So with the oil leak, with the sound of the engine, the fans kicking in already when the car's not up to temperature. We've got lovely bits of trim hanging off here and there. As you can hear, the fan is on and the car's not even up to temperature yet. We've only had it on for about 30 seconds to a minute max. It's not even up to temperature, the fan's kicking in. We've got an amber light on the 4-wheel drive system. That to me is suspicious as well. It's absolutely grubby. So we're gonna have to jump back on the train, get a train to go and see Will's Mercedes, and forget about this one. So we've managed to get to look at Will's Mercedes. He's having a check around it now. Let's wait for an update, whether he buys it or not.
So it's been an absolute nightmare. We've got a train to Bristol to go and collect the Mitsubishi L200. That was an epic fail. Engine was leaking oil. It was an absolute no-go. So we've come down here to now have a look at Will's Mercedes, and that's no good either. Looks like the bonnet's been replaced. It doesn't look no good. So I've had a look on our dealer auction network of main dealers, and I've managed to find a little cheapie for us to buy. We're going to head up there now. It's only 18 minutes away. Hopefully we've got something to ride home in. Otherwise we're going to have to spend another 120 quid to get a train back. So let's see how we get on. Right, so I had a long day yesterday. I didn't even fancy coming into work today, but you got to do what you got to do. I left at about 6:30 in the morning to go and get Will, to get on the train at Strood, train to Bristol, and then another train from Bristol to Yate. We had to walk an hour from Yate train station to the Ford main dealership. Got there and the Mitsubishi L200 was just a no-go. We would have had to have spent thousands on that to get it back to retail condition. and it just wasn't worth buying. Now, they can only describe them as well as they can on dealer auction, and sometimes you turn up and it's just too far gone. So I had to refuse that car, and then we had to walk back to the train station, back on the train from Yate to Bristol, and then another train from Bristol to Newport to go and look at Will's Mercedes. That was no good as well. It previously had the bonnet repaired or replaced, a few internal bits, some clips on the headlights were missing, so it looked like it had a front end shunt at some point. So we had to refuse that. Then I thought, right, rather than paying 120 quid to get the train back, let's pop up to a main dealer that I know. I had a look on dealer auction, I had a little Nissan Qashqai in. So went up and had a look at that. Stupidly, before we got in a taxi and spent another 20 quid to get a taxi there, I didn't check the MOT. Now the MOT advisory list was as long as your arm. It was ridiculous. So that would have been about, although it was only £1,500 to buy, we would have had to have spent another grand in prep for MOT advisories. So it weren't worth buying. It weren't worth the risk. I just thought, do you know what? Today has been an absolute nightmare. I was fuming. We had to get another £20 taxi back to Newport to then pay for another 120 quid to get a train from Newport back to Bristol, change again, Bristol to London, change again, underground, London, back to Strood. Didn't get home till 11:30 last night. I was shattered, but I'm in today. Chris has lifted my spirits, but it's not all bad news. I've got a few deals going through at the minute, so let's keep positive.
I gave him one job. In fairness to Liam, he was right to walk away from those deals, and luckily he does know what he's looking for. This just shows you, people, the car game doesn't always go to plan, but hopefully it was still enjoyable to watch. If you did enjoy it, please remember to like and subscribe, and we will see you soon in the next one.